Good morning, everyone. I want to go over your essay. All of this document is going to be available to you on Google Classroom. But I just want to go over some pieces of information to make sure that you understand what you are doing. Okay. I'm not going to read everything on the screen, but I do want to go over the most important parts that I feel are going to help you write the best essay that you can. Okay, so I'm going to start with the writing task. Remember, this is an effective argument essay for the life of narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. So, for this essay, you will be evaluating the effectiveness of Frederick Douglass's use of rhetorical appeals in his autobiography. More specifically, which appeal was more effective in supporting his purpose? The prompt. Douglass's main purpose in his narrative was to persuade people to end slavery. Which rhetorical appeal was most effective in supporting his purpose? Your response should include an analysis of the appeal and any devices used, as well as a counterclaim. All right. So, just to make sure that you understand, your job in the introduction is to explain to me what purpose and rhetorical appeal is, and then in your body paragraphs, you are going to you're going to argue that whichever appeal you used was the most effective. Within one of those body paragraphs, you will have a counterclaim. That's where you're going to insert an opposing idea and then dispute it. Okay. Now, after you see the actual writing prompt for the essay, you're going to come to the second page that is titled A Guide to Writing Effective Arguments Spider-Man Edition. This is where I show you with an actual example how to do the assignment. But I'm going to skip through this because I want to explain the actual organizer, which is found here for you to use. If you are going to have a difficult time writing this, if you are not a strong writer, my recommendation would be to answer these questions. And then once you've answered these questions, then use the responses to craft your essay. All right. Now, when you are crafting these answers, you can refer to the Spider-Man edition for an example. All right. So I'm going to go over the organizer with you just really quick, and then I'm going to scroll back up and rephrase the organizer with an example. All right. Okay, so let's begin. Organizer. Answer the questions and use the responses to craft your essay. Please refer to the Spider-Man edition for example responses. So, introduction. You should provide a quick explanation of purpose and rhetorical appeals. This should lead up to your thesis statement, which is spelled incorrectly. Let's fix that. Okay, so first question is, what is author's purpose? You are going to insert your answer there. What are rhetorical appeals? Answer there. Then it says thesis. The answers below combine to make a single sentence. Okay, so that means you're going to answer these questions for Frederick Douglass. Once you get all those answers together, you are going to craft a single sentence. Okay. So I'm going to scroll up to show you an example of that. Right here, it says, who wrote the autobiography, the title, what is this purpose, and what appeal is most effective. Remember, I'm using Spider-Man as my example. So who wrote the autobiography? Well, Spider-Man himself, and the title of that autobiography was Amazing Fantasy. That's actually the title of the first comic book that he's in. What is his purpose? His purpose is to inform the audience why he does what he does. What appeal is most effective? Pathos. Okay. So when we've done everything and we answer those questions, here is an example of what a thesis statement should look like. When Spider-Man wrote his autobiography, Amazing Fantasy, he wanted to inform people why he chose a life as a hero using multiple rhetorical appeals, but pathos was the most effective. All right. So I'm going to scroll back down and I want you to notice my introduction had all of these elements here. Okay. The first two parts, again, are really you just explaining what author's purpose is and what rhetorical appeals are. You have access to all that information on your study guides and on everything else that I've given you for Frederick Douglass. All right. Okay, so after you write your introduction, you're going to start your first body paragraph. Right here, body paragraph number 1. The first thing you're going to answer is, what is the appeal you have chosen, right? And then you're going to look throughout all of the study guides that I have provided for you, an example, right? So you're looking for contextual evidence. So you're going to find that and you're going to copy and paste it right here. There's no point in typing it, just copy and paste. It's much easier. Then you're going to tell me a little bit about the context of what's happening in the story. From there, you're going to tell me, what does the appeal make the reader do? Does it make you feel? Does it make you think? Right? It could make you feel both. That's up to you. It's however you want to write your essay. Then you're going to tell me what devices helped do this. This is to really help you focus on your appeal. Okay, we're talking about things like irony, imagery, connotation, denotation, parallel structure, that kind of stuff. And then the last but not least, it says, did you use the word effective or a synonym of the word? What I'm actually asking you to do is to make a statement saying that this particular appeal, the appeal you chose here, is the most effective appeal. You're just going to be making that statement. All right. So I'm going to scroll back up to our Spider-Man example. And here it is, body paragraph. You will see that I have all the answers to those questions right here. What is the appeal? Pathos. What is your example? The death of Uncle Ben. What is the context? Robbery gone bad, precipitated by his bad decisions. If you've never watched the original Spider-Man with that Toby kid, you realize that he had an opportunity to stop a bad man, but because he felt wronged, he let him go. And that bad man ended up killing his Uncle Ben. Okay, so that's the context. What does the appeal make the reader do? The emotion makes the reader understand his life debt to fighting crime. Okay, what devices help do this? Irony, connotation, denotation. I want to point out that since I'm using pathos, within this word right here, emotion, you're going to explain that emotion. And you're going to explain that emotion with the literary devices. So that's a little bit more of a specific directive to you. Make sure that if you are using pathos, you are really explaining that emotional connection. And if you're using logos, you're really showing that logical and cognitive connection. Okay. And then last but not least, did I use the word effective or a synonym of the word? Remember, this is in reference to the statement that you are making about whether, about how effective your appeal is. So here it goes. It is very effective in putting us in his shoes. Okay, so there you go. That's a body paragraph. Now, you'll notice that the second body paragraph has the exact same directions, except my recommendation would be to include your counterclaim in the second paragraph. Okay, so the counterclaim says, use the sentence starters. While some people believe blank is more effective, this is wrong because. The rest of that sentence is really up to what you feel is the reason why it's not effective. So here goes. What do other people believe is effective? You're going to tell me what the other rhetorical appeal is and insert it here, right? Then you're going to tell me why this is wrong and what makes it less effective than your choice. Okay, these two questions belong at the end of that sentence frame. So going back up to the top, we're going to look at our Spider-Man edition example, and here it is, counterclaim. What do people believe is effective? Why is this wrong? What makes it less effective than your choice? Using the sentence frame from below, while other people would argue that ethos is more effective because you can see the logic in having great power and great responsibility, this is wrong. Because without sympathy, you would not care about anyone else, so you would have no responsibility. Okay? Your counterclaim is literally a single sentence if you can be as specific as you can be. All right? I want you to notice that a third body paragraph is optional. It's optional. If you do a third body paragraph and you do it well, it will only raise your grade. It will not lower your grade. That means that if you write 3 body paragraphs, your third one will only raise your grade if it's written well. If it's written poorly, it will do nothing to your grade. okay? After you are done writing your introduction, your body paragraphs, you will finally get to your conclusion where you will be asked to restate your main ideas. It's a standard conclusion. Most people do not mess this up except by not including it, okay? All right, so after you have done your organizer, your brainstorming, and I really recommend that you do the brainstorming before you start writing, right? After you do your brainstorming, you're going to go ahead and write your essay. You're going to take the information from this organizer, put it into a document, and then when you're done, you're going to want to look at how I'm going to grade this. Please make sure that you refer to how I'm going to grade your essay so that you know what's really important, what you really need to make sure that you follow. For example, I want you to notice that if there is no analysis, right, and you are missing literary devices, it is a huge chunk to your grade, okay? These are the points that you would miss. So please make sure you review this grading checklist, okay? So when you actually open up the assignment in Google Classroom under Google Docs, this whole document will be there, all right? I am going to be looking for two things when I grade your essay. One, did you fill out this organizer, or did you do your own brainstorming on another paper, which will be inserted here, right? There'll be just a blank space, and I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to put individual brainstorm. Okay, and this is going to be for people that don't want to use my organizer. So that means that when you are done and you turn this in, I spelled brainstorm wrong. I'm going to look for one, did you do brainstorm? Did you do my organizer or did you do one of your own? And then second, after the scores, I'm going to be looking for your actual essay in the document, which you will type here. You will not do anything on any separate document except for this. I've made a copy for you. You just need to fill it out and do your best. All right. If you have any specific questions, you can email me, or if I'm in class and I happen to be in class, then you can obviously chat me up verbally or through the chat on Zoom or GoGuardian. All right. Well, good luck, everyone. And I hope your essays turn out awesome.